Hello, welcome to the next exciting episode of the Tale of Four Pandas. This is the catchily titled On the Way to 200 Points. Hopefully somebody could come up with something better than that. Almost no one has asked, Ogre, how did you paint that? But whether you like it or not, I'm going to tell you how. If anybody was paying attention to the last video, you will have noticed that I was going to paint 4 models to bring it from 150 to 200. I'm painting 5. Never the one to stick with the original plan. You have gone with an extra Gullum, basically. As I was painting them anyway, I thought I'd do another one because they're going to come in handy. So the list I have of things to paint, and you will notice I've already added some paint. We have the Asawira with a Spitfire. So we have got the Farzan Infiltrator. Like that. We have the Gullum, so we've got the lady that I'd already selected. And another guy with a rifle. And finally, the Fide. There you go. I'll maybe insert some pictures here so you can see a little bit clearer. I'll leave that to the fancy boffins to sort that one out. Let's see. So the main thing I've been doing is sorting out the green. Because when I looked at the models I'd painted previously, I didn't think they kind of stood out enough, really. So I was looking around to see what I could do, and I saw some models online. They happened to be from one of our kind of northwest guys. So I just completely stole it from Ross. Sorry, Ross, but now it's mine. So Ross is one of those annoying people who started painting not that long ago and could just do it. And I remember I was running a competition during the plague. We were doing some online painting competitions, and these models were just really good. And he'd not been painting very long, and it was just, oh dear. I was kind of love and hate him in equal measure, really, because he's actually quite a top bloke, which is really, terrible. Anyway, the recipe, back to the topic, is Luftwaffe Camo Green, which is kind of a dark greeny colour. So that's obviously the base, and then we're going to blend or highlight up to lighter colours. The kind of mid-tone is Uniform Green. And then the secret, which is kind of the bit I nicked, really, is, I think that's yellow green. I thought it might be in the green yellow, but yellow green. So that's kind of where we're going, from the dark to the light. And what I've done, just to kind of tweak it slightly, is the very top highlights, I've added a little bit of ivory to it, which is my kind of go-to, adding a bit of lighting that isn't white. So I think it looks pretty good. I'm quite happy with it. It does pop a little bit more. I'm going to have to go back and do all the other models so they all match up. But I'm kind of, but I quite like that. It's a nice one to steal, I think. What else have I done? So the cloth and things. So on a previous video, somebody asked me about how I painted the cloaks and bits and bobs, and that was kind of, so partly on kind of this guy that we talked about before. So I've done a very similar thing to what I put on one of the comments on YouTube, but I've started on a darker colour. So I was starting on a green ochre before, but I'm now starting on heavy brown. Now this is basically just a dark-ish, but not too dark, brown that I had lying around from when I was painting Bolt Action. Some of my colour choices are based on what paints I've got left from other projects. So then, yeah, the green ochre, which is also from Bolt Action. I think it's in the kind of the British paint set. And then I think the main colour that you're aiming for is dark sand. And that's kind of the main colour that I want it to kind of look like. So that's our 3. Like that. Which is kind of like the basic darkish to light. Again, I'm going to do maybe some darker washes in the kind of creases and the things. Sometimes even Nuln oil, just to make it like really nice and dark, and big steps from the dark to light. A couple of extras I've been doing where I've wanted it a little bit brighter is Iraqi sand, and then mixing in a little bit of the good old ivory. So you kind of get a little bit more almost kind of works. Okay, what else have I painted? Pouches. So pouches and leathery bits are flat brown, which is kind of quite a reddy brown in my eyes anyway. With that, I've just been mixing in a bit of the dark sand to highlight, to kind of keep the palette quite small. I'll show some more pictures again and you can decide whether it's good or not. What else have I done? I like to paint things quite dark in my armour. We're playing games with toys, but I like it to be kind of covert. I don't want people to be running around in anything too bright. So there's some black panels and things. So the black is actually German grey. That's then had just some Nuln oil just to give it a bit of shading to it. So yeah, I've used it on a few panels. I've used it on the Golem, just in between the legs, on the arms, and obviously the guns and things are done in the same manner, just with a bit of edge highlight on the guns with the ivory. Surprise. Let me see what else to do. Yeah, so things to do. I still have to do the skin on the Golem, both of them. I'll just use my kind of normal recipe. At the moment, I tend to go in phases. At the moment, I'm favouring like a brown rose colour, and then just highlighting that up with whatever I've got kicking about, really. I tend to swap highlights depending on what's on the palette. So I might do a light flesh. Ivory obviously is going to be on there somewhere, and then just kind of build that up until I'm happy. So I need to sort that out. And then it's the visors. Now, this is the thing I can't work out because I want them to stand out more. I did a few on the older models, but I don't think they're quite bright enough. So I've done, it's kind of yellowy orange with the kind of a yellow streak down the middle and then orange towards the edges. If anybody's got any tips, this is the bit I need a bit of help with here. If you can put something in the comments, that'd be amazing. You can kind of tell me what's what. I was watching something online the other day and they were doing kind of like straighter lines kind of thing. So it was like that. Mine have kind of I've blended them together in the middle. I don't know. Put a little comment on, tell me what you want to do. Or what you think I should do. More to the point. So that's it really, I think, for now. I'm sure there'll be another part of this video where I'll come up with something else. Oh, you're back already? I've not finished yet. I know. Aleph, tell us about Asawiras.
The Asara Regiment is a formidable attack force in the service of Haqqislam. A small group chosen from among them comprises the personal guard of the Shah. The remainder act as elite heavy troops and are one of the tools that keep the Hassassin sect under the supervision of the Haqqislamite High Command. They are equipped with the finest light-powered armor on the market, provided with aiming and target acquisition devices and with the most efficient automatic systems. But beyond their equipment, the Asara are a select unit, expert and very well trained. They fulfill all kinds of combat missions, be they aggressive or defensive ones. Their members are recruited from the Elamite region, where the climate and environment are so harsh that, without specialized medical attention, 70% of children would die before reaching adolescence. The Asara are tough, arrogant, confident, and brave men, a real race of warriors. Their military training emphasizes tenacity in attacks and a disdain for self-preservation. As an elite corps, they do not let themselves be killed any old way. They die as their reputation dictates, and the expectation is it will not be until they have drawn rivers of enemy blood.
Are you back again already? Oh, blimey. I know. Aleph, tell us some about Fides.
A Fide is not a mere assassin, but an executioner. He acts in public and sends a public message. A man is killed, thousands are terrorized, and, if the Fide is apprehended, he will die a courageous death. The Fide strives to earn the admiration of any who witness the act, thus winning more supporters and followers for the secret society of assassins. Fide are experts in the use and concealment of weapons, in secure forward communication systems, in deep infiltration into enemy territory, in disguise, in impersonation, in tracking and in many other secret techniques. Their uniforms are furnished with real-time holographic mimicry masking systems, including a computer that generates environmental immersion effects to enhance the verisimilitude of their appearance, thus facilitating their mission. Fide are exceptional in that their faith in a paradise earned by fulfilling their mission makes them willing to face certain death.
So, let's crank this up to 200 points. Yeah, I could do the Teutonic Knights and do some more of those, but those two are really good on their own, so there's plenty of other options. I still want to transfer to that Order Sergeant to the Specialist Teutonic Knight, so I've still got to do that to do. Still got sort of quite a few in these guys to get done, and I've got these little specialist sniper surprises to do. I'm very tempted on the boarding shotgun one. Got him. Yeah, he's coming. But you know what? I think I might do. It's probably not the best solution, but I think I'm going to do those two. I'm going to do the big boy and the commander. I know he's probably not, but the best. He's got extra orders and he's got NCO. He's also got. He's going to be a beast in 200 points. He's also a lot of points in 200 points, but gets the extra 2 orders. I think that's going to be cool. And then the commander as well. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that because it's cool, rather than sensible. Obviously, send me some comments below. See what I should do and all that kind of thing. Any others I should actually start thinking about. But yeah, let's give them a go. Oh, come on, Cobber's Belly. How many bits does this big boy need to be in? It's in like 1,000,000 pieces. It's going to take me ages. Commander's not so bad. He's on about 3 points. But the Knight of Skeptical Sculptures. Yeah. Oh, it's going to take me ages to put him together. So, the Knight Commander and the Knight of the Holy Sepulchre is done. Big chunky boy. A bit of a break over Christmas because family and Christmas, and I've got a whole lot of mess to tidy up because the problem with having a 6x4 table is it's ideal for wrapping presents up. So I have these, but I also have these. The Black Friar and the Trinitarian Forward Observer with submachine gun, which looks, and she also looks like she's got hold of a Shazavasti pistol, but we'll overlook that. Because I was looking at my 200 point list, and it wasn't ideal with him in it. He's a big number in 200 points. He's like a quarter of the army, and I really don't want to risk that for... I need more orders because that's always been a problem with mine, having to not enough orders to do everything I want. And there's going to be a lot of mimetism, so the Breath Fire would be handy. A specialist in the centre of the board that can just appear would be nice. So I'm kind of changed my mind to the 200 point list. So I'm going to go for this. So this is my 200 point list as it stands at the moment, unless you guys kind of tell me otherwise. So I've got my 3 Croziers, which are a really nice unit. No, they don't do a 12. I just had a quick thought. I've got spare point. They don't do a 12 point. Anyway, so I've got my multispectral visor level 2 Spitfire for all that mimetism. I'm keeping the Knight Commander with his +1 order, who can go with these guys and classed as a Crozier, so that's something nice. +1 order because you get an NCO version of this Teutonic Knight, which did really well last time, so why wouldn't I have an extra couple of orders on him as well as his Impetuous? Hey, why not go for it? The Tritarian, I've been told he's quite good because I've got the camouflage, hidden deployment, mimetism -6, infiltration, also a specialist, so I can get up the board and capture those things that I might not be able to capture. So that's probably a do the mission kind of piece. So I'm looking forward to looking to using that, if I can get my words out. Pathfinder Drone Bot, because it's a bonus for this ITS season, so why not? Trauma Doc, I've already got her painted up because she's a doctor and probably need that skill. Blackfriar, as like I said, multispectral visor level 2 because of all that mimetism that I'm going to be facing, and in the end I'm going to be facing Shazvasti. So, and it appears to be quite a lot of mimetism in 012, which I didn't realise, but is a thing. So that is basically my 200 point list as we speak. It might change, but that's what I'm working towards at the moment. So I've got my Knight Commander to paint, Blackfriar to paint, and my Trinitarian Forward Observer to paint. So that's not too bad, only 3 models. So I should be able to do it before we do his 200 point game. Yeah, let's see how we go. And before I move on any further, I've been asked about the bases. Now, the bases are essentially slate with gravel and sand at this stage, and I painted up. So what I'm going to do is paint up a spare one and show you how it's done. Essentially, it's slate and rocks with sand, with coarse sand, a few other bits and pieces in it. So it will come out looking lovely, well, looking like the other ones really. Now, just a tip for you: try and keep it in the stones in odd numbers. It looks better. So 1, 3, 5, that kind of thing. Just looks better. Right, so let's get some. So I get a powder of undercoat, so it's nice and black, mostly from underneath downwards because that's where I want the black to be. So I'm going to give it a blast over with the airbrush. Start with dark grey, light grey, white. Well, you've seen it before, which will give me the base coat so I can get these started. And as if by magic, quick blast over, and they're all done. Come on, keep the camera still. So they're all done, and there's shading from black all the way through to the white on top, which is what you want. And as you can see, the bases are white as well, which is helps for the next stage. So I'm going to concentrate on these 3, get these 3 done. He can be put to one side for a bit because these are going to be in the 200 point list. Darts I've been playing about with Dart in the list. Maybe I should keep her inside because she can be a pain, but we'll have a look. We'll see. These 3 are going to get painted, then I know I've at least got a 200 point list. So let's crack on. So painting bases, a nice bright blue for the icy bits that's going to poke through, and it's watered down, probably 50-50, a good 50-50, so it can kind of like wash into all the cracks and crevices, and then basically chug it on everywhere. I'll come back in a second because I can't paint, hold and do everything. So right back, and as you can see, because it's watered down quite a lot, all the blues kind of settled in and some of the white started poking through already, but essentially we're just going to do a heavy dry brush of white on top of that and it'll pop out lovely. So yeah, let me go and chuck a load of blue on those because it needs to dry, and I shall be back shortly. So sometime later, it's dried. You can just see the white poking through. You can probably see it better on the white poking through on those because it's watered down blue. So the next stage is to give it a heavy dry brush with just some white, any white will do, just to kind of make it look snowy again. And as if by magic, there we go. It's a bit more icy. Got one more stage to do and that's done, but I've got some details to do on these guys first. So let me spend a day's painting them, and for you it's going to be melt instant. Okay, so the base has been heavily dry brushed. I've already gone round with some black around the edge, and all I've got to do now is to put some snow on it in the cracks and stuff where the wind hasn't blown it away. And I'm currently using Citadel Valhalla Blizzard. If there's another product out there that you can recommend, just drop it in the comments below. So yeah, let's pop some on, see how it looks. And there we have it. Just a little bit of snow in between the rocks. Just makes it look nice and cold and natural, and yeah, that'll do. Because look at those. I'll show you those in a minute. That's how it comes out. Looks great. And so they're painted. I'm kind of glad I went for this paint scheme because it's really quite quick. Not the best in the world, but it certainly do for the tabletop, and they look fine from that distance. Look, they look great from that distance. Right. So I've got the commander. I tried to do his sword kind of like heated up, so he starts off with the black at the edge and then goes to kind of like oranges and whites in the center, but it really didn't work. So I just painted it silver. I've got the tertiary in the center with a Shazvesti pistol and the black friar. I decided to do her armor black rather than her cloaks black because I think that looks better and it ties in with the armor a little bit better. But she's still about black friar, and yeah, so the armor looks quite good black. I'm quite pleased with that. The base has come out quite nice, like you can see, as I've shown you how to paint that one. It's very straightforward indeed. I'd give it a go if you wanted a kind of snowy base one. Yeah, so they came out okay. So let's have a quick look more into their makeup, and we'll see. So let's start with the commander. The commander I quite like. He's not too expensive. In fact, let's have a look at his profile. And it's not too bad at all. He's not too expensive, 24 and 28. The 28 gives you an extra order, which is going to come very handy for my Mad Knights when they're kind of running forward, because they've got NCO. Actually, he's got NCO for the next go, so he's got NCO as well, so that'll come in handy for that. For an extra 4 points, which is not bad. He's also got Hollow Mask, which might keep him a little bit more hidden, even though Stormshroud's seeing this video and it knows it's coming, so probably against Stormshroud not going to be great, but you know, in the future I might be able to hide him in. He's not bad in a fist fight, marital arts level 2, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so Aleph, zoom across. Tell me more about Knight Commanders.
A Knight Commander is a true warrior who will never ask their troops to do anything that they wouldn't do themselves, and they always find occasions to prove it. Thus, they were supplied with holographic mimesis and comms shielding equipment, to confound the enemy and ensure that they were no longer obvious targets for enemy snipers. Although initially the Grand Masters and other leaders of the military orders were afraid that these officers would reject such impositions, they soon realized that their concerns were unfounded, and now they have a tool that allows them to take even more risks than before. It's important to remember that the title of Knight Commander derives from the word command, and this is what these officers do, but always in the vanguard and looking danger in the eye.
Thank you, Aleph. So the Trinitarian tertiaries, specialist, mid-table, hidden deployment, that kind of stuff. This particular one's got the submachine gun, which I quite like, kind of short to medium range, and Yeah, they got loads of good stuff. They've got camouflage, hidden deployment, mimetism -6, infiltration. And they're not too expensive at 23 points. That's the one I'm going for. Shock mines, which is nice. Drop some mines in the centre. Yeah, let's see how we get on. So, Aleph, tell me a little bit more about Trinitarian tertiaries.
The members of the third rule, known as tertiaries, are instructed in techniques for special operations, raids, and covert activity. They are trained by professionals from the Pan-Oceanian military complex and hexahedron instructors. Many of them belong to the ranks of the order sergeants, men and women who have decided to commit even further to their faith and their duty to God. Inspired by the units of mercy of the Order of the Hospital, and following the redemptive principles of the Trinitarian Order, the tertiaries favor missions aimed at freeing captives. However, besides prisoners of war, the Trinitarians are most concerned about civilians and innocents who are swept away by the relentless and indiscriminate tide of every conflict. It's a matter of survival, but also of optimizing their offensive power. God's plan is about a lot more than saving civilians. It sometimes requires tackling evil directly, face to face. Evil can manifest in the form of an alien in the service of an extraterrestrial AI or in that of any enemy of the Church, adversaries against whom there is no room for compassion. And tertiaries will be as implacable as they will be efficient because this is their task, to unveil mysteries, save the innocent, and be the Lord's executing hand in the human sphere.
Thank you, Aleph. So, the last thing we've got is the Black Friar with missile launcher. Heavy rocket launcher, sorry. Yeah, I've got to bring her with her level 2 multispectral visor because of all the mimetism that O12 have got, as well as the Shazvasti when we get to the 300-point game at the end. Yeah, so she's pretty good. Zooming across, she's 25 points, 1.5 points SWIC, multispectral level 2 religious, 6th sense. I'm going to forget that. She's got a multi-pistol. I'm going to forget that. Yeah, so yeah, they're pretty good. I might have to get that one though, the FTO with a multi-rifle, nano pulse and drop bears, because that looks fun. With all the extra bits he gets, for 28 points. Yeah, so Aleph, tell me about Blackfriars.
It is said that the Dominicans are known as the Hounds of the Lord because of a play on words with their Latin name, Dominicanus. However, the real reason for this name is due to the ferocity with which they have developed their work as watchdogs of the Church, first during the Inquisition and now as a special security detachment. The Black Friars, a name derived as much from their clothing as from their grim reputation, they are the Twilight Guardians of Pan-Oceania. Their designated mission is to provide security against any possible infiltration by undercover agents or enemy powers like the Shasvasti alien threat. As servants of God in Pan-Oceania, Dominicans are the thin black line that separates good from the evil, peace from chaos. This responsibility and the constant threat of the enemies of their religion and their nation is what defines them and keeps them centered on their mission. Conscious of their task and mission, the Black Friars do not waver in their commitment to keeping Pan-Oceania safe with the utmost ferocity, as is befitting of the Hounds of the Lord.
So, and with that, I'm at 200 points, which didn't take me too long and not too many models. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this next match. I'm not looking forward to the Omega, though. I've seen that Omegas are on. He's on my horizon, so yeah, I'm not looking forward to facing the Omega. -6 mimetisms, HMGs, never going to be good. Especially if we're going to be in cover, so it's going to be a pain to see and hit. So anyway, wish me luck. Comments below what I should have taken. I've got to admit, Dart was on the edge for a long time, and she's probably going to be in the 250, definitely. But yeah, comments below, let me know what I should have taken, what I should take going forward to the 250 match, and any hints and tips of how I can use these guys. Yeah, cheers.
Hi guys, welcome back to another vlog, this time for the ultimate good guys, obviously, the Shazvasti. Now in good news, this time round I have made a bit of progress, which is quite impressive considering I have an absolutely manic 9-month-old in the house and Christmas has just been. But thankfully I did manage to get a little bit of time to do some models. And true to my word, I actually managed to paint the models I was going to, or at least I suggested last time round. So, without further ado, let's go straight into the models I've got. Now, basically what you've got here is the 5 model, well, now it's a little bit of a lie, 4.5 models that I've managed to complete. My seed soldier in the centre here is still a work in progress. And can't quite get it to focus, there we go. So, just to prove that I am painting it myself and, you know, not outsourcing it to someone, there is a work in progress. And hopefully, I'm going to get that finished before the 200-point game, so I might be able to use it. So basically what I've done, though, is I've painted up options, and everybody loves options, okay? Now, first thing I painted up was these two guys. So we've got the Noctifer, oops, and the Noctifer. Noctifer. Two variants. I think, actually, my favourite, for at least for a small point game, would probably end up being the Spitfire variant. But, I mean, a Noctifer missile launcher lying in deployment is never something to be sniffed at. So, I've got that one in the back pocket for later on. Now, the more astute viewers will have noticed that those weren't the exact same models that I showed off last time round. And in fact, just to show my shame, here is the previous Noctifer model that I was going to paint, the old sculpt. And actually, I do like the old sculpt. But what I had noticed is actually when you put it next to an actual Nox sculpt, if I can do this properly, the actual model itself looks a little bit small. And unfortunately, I'm one of those people that once I noticed that, it was bugging me. And then it bugged me some more, and then it bugged me some more, and then it bugged me some more, and I decided, no, don't let it bug you. And then it bugged me some more. So, Santa Juan was very, very generous to me, and I was able to pick up the 2 new sculpts for Noctifers. And don't get me wrong, I mean, the new Spitfire sculpt for the Noctifer is absolutely gorgeous, and I do love it. It's almost as good as the original. The missile launcher one, I'm not so sure about. Now, don't get me wrong, the model itself is very, very, very gorgeous. But I'm ex-military, and the thought of sticking either the muzzle or the butt of a highly expensive weapon like that into the ground before firing it just makes me shudder. So, jury's still out on that one. Having said that, Noctifer missile launcher, definitely something a Shazvasti player wants in his arsenal. I also painted up my Malignos. Now, I wasn't originally planning on doing those at this stage. I was planning on doing them, obviously, but just not necessarily at this stage. But I was on such a roll from painting the Noctifers, and they were already primed and ready to go, I figured, why not? And it also continues with the theme of, you know, -6 mimetism, because I think, hopefully, I've scared Ogre enough now to make sure he doesn't bring too much MSV, thanks to my Guilo with Albedo, which is great. Now, at this point in time, due to popular request, I am going to switch to the lore front. So, I'm going to ask for someone to give you a nice little bit of a lowdown on the Noctifer. However, I would be betraying my own species and loyalties if I asked Aleph for it. So, instead, Almighty Evolved Intelligence, please enlighten us to the purpose of the Noctifer.
Noctifers, otherwise known as the Tactical Domain Special Wing, possess all the essential traits of a Shasvasti operative. They can remain hidden for prolonged periods of time thanks to their advanced cloaking technology. They are able to resist any and all adverse weather and environmental conditions thanks to their training and redundancies built into their protective suits, and they are equipped with the most lethal ranged weapons the Shasvasti Continuum can get its hands, or claws, on. The mission of a Noctifer is that of a patient hunter. They stalk the prey, striking from an unexpected angle and at an unexpected time. You truly do not know the time, nor the hour. During the initial contact between the human sphere and the Shasvasti, the Noctifers were usually sent in at dusk to exploit their stealth capabilities to the fullest, hence the nickname they received. To a Shasvasti, service in the special wing is a great honor, second in importance only to the task of providing for the young ones and preserving the legacy of the Shasvastii race. The Noctifers concentrate on removing the threats to Shasvastii existence.
So, there you have it. Okay? Scary unit. Malignos. Scary unit. Okay? So, now, thinking ahead. Where to go from here? Okay? Now, a couple of suggestions, some great suggestions on both YouTube and on Discord servers. And apologies to those guys on Twitter and Instagram. I don't actually have a Twitter or Instagram account. I keep meaning to do it, but again, 9-month-old and I just started a new job, so things are a bit manic at the minute. So, by all means, do keep passing suggestions on. I do have in my back pocket those two new, well, not literally in my back pocket, because then I'd be sitting on them, but two new remotes for Combined Army, which I was thinking of putting into the M drones, especially with ITS 13 the way it is, with the extra orders and marksmanship for those guys. And I really do want to try out the Guilo Harris with the two extra remotes. So definitely looking to give that a go. But I honestly think probably at some point what should come next you didn't see anything. This is not the Sphinx you're looking for. Because I think I could probably just about squeeze that in onto a 50-point game, but I would be running short on orders. So, it's definitely, I think, going in probably for the 300, but it might need a tiny bit of play testing on that one. Other options, I do have a Hajduk as well, and someone else mentioned Victor Messer, which I think might be a very, very good option if I haven't scared Ochre enough and he does start bringing MSV along, because the access to white noise would be absolutely lovely in that case. Seed Soldier is definitely getting painted up. I like the idea, because when I was building lists and trying through lists, I was always finding there was a bit of a 12-15 point gap or hole in my list, and if I can squeeze that out to about 16 points, I can actually run a forward observer, so I can get a specialist in the midfield. And that's me sniffed at. I mean, the stats aren't amazing, but you've got a specialist running around, whip 13, but it does have chest mines, and it does come in camouflaged with a decoy. So there is that. I do have a second one as well, but I'm going to play test it first. I did think about the Cadmus, and again, I think the Cadmus is going to be a very hit and miss piece. Now, I'm saying this based on perception rather than experience. So if you've got experience of Cadmus and think it is the best thing since, well, I've no idea what Shasvasti's equivalent of sliced bread is. Sliced human? Sliced DNA, because let's face it, it's more of a suggestion rather than a rule for these guys. So if you think the Cadmus is awesome, drop me a line or put it in the comments and I'll have a look at that, because the Morpho scan is one of those things that if I pull it off, and in the case of this, so scan Joan or scan Achilles, but none of us are running LF, but or scan the Gamma or one of those guys running around, then that would be absolutely awesome. But I think it's quite a bit of an investment, possibly not, and I'd have to probably run the Q drone just to make sure I could land it on the board where I need it to be. Oh, don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to it, but I'm just not feeling it. And that other 12-15 point gap in my list, I could fill out with more Nox. I do have the Nox SWC pack, thanks to Santa Juan again. But I wasn't intending to go down Nox core route. Now, don't get me wrong, that's not because I dislike the idea. I think actually that Nox core, especially if I had a guided sniper in it, would be absolutely dirty. It would be awesome. But I wasn't initially intending to do it. So I am, yeah. I think the Seed Soldiers are going to fill the gap. There is the other option of the 10 show expert, which is around about 18 points, something like that, and he is a specialist. But in all honesty, I keep looking at that profile and go, what does it actually do? Because it doesn't seem all that much greater than some of the other profiles that are pretty much cheaper than it. Yes, it's a specialist. And journalist, is it still a thing? I know it was a big thing during the Paradiso campaign, but yeah, something to consider. Incidentally, it reminds me as well, if anyone does want to know anything about how I painted these or a recipe, let me know in the comments and I will happily put together a list of things or anything like that. And if you're crazy enough, I'm willing, if you want me to, that is, to put together a painting tutorial. Although I will say again now, if you are actually following me for painting tips, something has gone very, very wrong in your life. But if you're so inclined, I'm more than willing to do it. Although, you know, nothing I've done here is amazingly innovative, so therefore we'll have to call it a completely new name. Slapshot's taken, so let's call it Panda Splat. Trademark. Okay? So, I think I'm going to leave it there for today, ladies and gents. Again, obviously, if you've got suggestions, we're more than happy to hear from them. And I've got a horrible, horrible feeling that actually Ogre has tweaked his list enough that 10-0 victory is going to be a thing of the past. So I am fully expecting to get totally and utterly demolished next game, depending on the mission, obviously. But so any more help for the greater good, obviously, please let me know. Other than that, thanks very much for joining us, and hopefully I'll have some more progress for you next time round. Cheers, guys.
Hi guys, welcome back for more Tales of 4Panda 012 goodness. Well, hopefully goodness. So I'm on the journey now from 150 to 200 points. Thanks for the suggestions I've had from various people. I think I have a way forward. I think I have a plan. So I'm going to switch locations, show you the list I'm going to be building towards for 200 points, and then come back and we'll talk about the models in a bit more detail. Okay then, so this is what I had at 150 points. I had the Blue Coat, the Lynx, the Epsilon, both with shock marksman rifles, the Gangbuster, which was a specialist, my two Varangians, the Warcore, and the Psychop with the multi-marksman rifle, and they're all specialist operatives. Now, I found I was a little lacking with specialists for some of the missions, so I want to get a few more specialists in as I move to 200 points. And I think I'm going to need some bigger guns. I did toy around with things like making an alpha and making that my lieutenant, so the Blue Coat can go back to just being a Blue Coat. I may do that at a later date, but not right now. Not right now. So what I've decided to do, because I want more specialists in, and I want some more gunfighter. I want a more durable gunfighter. The marksman rifles have been great on the small boards, but I think as we move up to a bigger board, because when you get to 200 points, the board size increases to actually 48 across. Getting the Epsilon up to a sniper rifle would be nice, but I don't think I'm going to have the points with what I want to do. So I'm going to drop the Lynx. Bear with me, there is a reason. I'm going to replace the Lynx, effectively replace the Lynx as a gunfighter with an Omega. Now the Omega with the HMG still comes with the -6 mimetism. He's got more armor, loses the hidden deployment, but he's got a better ballistic skill and a bigger gun. So I'm hoping with his -6 mimetism, staying in cover, good ballistic skill, good ranges, he can put down a lot of firefights where he's going to be in a better situation, and give me the advantage on the dice rolls. That's my thinking. So Lynx goes away, Omega comes in. That does take up a chunk of points out of the 50 points I've got left, even after losing the Lynx. So we're now looking for some cheap specialists. So here's my thinking. I'm going to put in a Lambda, I'm going to put in a Doctor. So this way I can use the Doctor to get people up if I need to. And it's another cheap specialist. Doctors get bonuses in some missions, and it's always handy to have a Doctor, and at willpower 14 they're not bad. To give me a bit more coverage, I'm going to actually make the effort to put in a Udbot. It's something I always think, oh, I should include those, and then I end up dropping them for something else. I'm going to make an effort to keep the Udbot in, so it allows me more coverage with this one Doctor, so I can cover things. I can maybe cover the Omega and the Epsilon, for example. That's my thinking there. And that leaves me 13 points. I did toy with putting in a Kappa Hacker for 12 points. But then I thought, well, hang on a second. There is, somewhere in here, he says, somewhere, there we are, right at the bottom, the Raven Eye officers. They're 12 points. They come with mines. They're a mine layer. They're all forward observers. So I'm going to go with a Raven Eye Officer, submachine gun, the EMRAT for a big teardrop EM weapon, some EM mines, the flash pulse, and then its immunity to shock. So it can't be taken out by shock, so I think the Doctor can get it back up. Yeah, that I think for 12 points is better than the Kappa Hacker. I could be wrong. No, I could. See, I could drop the Ude bot and make the Epson a sniper. I've got the points to do it if I do that. And initially I did think that, but like I said, I'm going to make an effort to keep the Ude bot in. I don't have any other way to get the points to make that a sniper, so for now the Epson can just stay as a shock marksman, and we'll just have to make do with that. So we are a little bit lacking in range possibly when we go to 48 inches, but we'll have to wait and see. That's my plan. That's what I'm going to do. And if I paint the Ude bot and it doesn't work out, then at least it's painted for later. That's, there you go. There's a positive. So that's what I'm going to build my list up to 200 points with. It gives me 1, 2, 3, 4 specialists, full 10 orders. Well, 9.5 because the War Corps is only an irregular order, but I've got those command tokens and not a lot else to do with them. I've still got a good few gunfighters, multi-marksman rifle, shock marksman rifle, and then the Omega. I've got a good amount of MSV still. 1, 2, 3 things with MSV 1 or better. The Varangians are still in there. I don't think they're going anywhere. I think they're going to be a staple. So yeah, that's the plan. I have 4 models to paint, so I need to stop nattering and get painting. Okay, so we're back, and as you've seen, the Lynx is gone, and I've got 4 new models to paint. I have them all assembled and undercoated, so she's going to be getting paint on them. So we're going to have a couple of cheap specialists with the Doctor and the Raven Eye Officer, and a little Ude bot so I can give the Doctor a bit more coverage. I do like the Doctor model. I like the pose is quite nice. The Ude bots are the same ones that I left get, so they're still cool, but not that new. And the Raven Eye Officer, which I'm sure you've all seen. And then the big gun that we're bringing in. So the Lynx is gone, but we're replacing it with another gunfighter, with a bigger gun and more armour. So still comes with -6 mimetism, doesn't get hidden deployment, but the -6 mimetism with the HMG and the armour, I think the Omega here will be a nice gunfighter as we move up the points values. Gives me a piece I can, as I said, I can be more aggressive with. I can use that to Rambo a bit and to try and punch a hole in my opponent's defences. So yeah, 4 models to paint to get from 150 to 200 points, and that's only because I've dropped one of the ones I already had. But it does going to show you don't need a lot of models to make to increase your army from one points bracket to another. So I'm going to crack on with painting them, and we will be back once I've got some paint on them. Maybe even when I've got 1 or 2 of them finished. Well, that might be a bold claim. Okay. And with the magic of editing, some time has passed, and they're all done. They're all painted. So that's me up to 200 points. So let's have a closer look. They're not fantastic. They're not going to win any competitions, but they are definitely tabletop ready. So starting off, we have the Lambda, the Doctor, with its little Ude bot. Lovely sculpts. I think I possibly should add a bit more colour to the Lambda. I may come back and do a bit more detailing, add something. Yeah, it's all bit. It does blend together a little bit, but I often say that and never do. Anyway, Aleph, could you give us the background on the Lambda unit?
Bureau Aegis's technical and medical specialists, Lambdas quickly gain familiarity with the wide array of cutting-edge technology that the human sphere has to offer. Often working alongside military liaisons, observers, and advisors, Lambda techs need to be able to repair the servos on a Pan-Oceanian tag 1 minute, then ensure a Hacktislamite field surgery station is up and running the next, with little to no warning about what critical issue is about to become their problem. Equally as skilled, the Lambda Battalion of Field Doctors operates Bureau Aegis's field hospitals and can be found in the midst of practically every humanitarian mission occurring in the human sphere. From disaster relief to field surgery, Lambdas receive similar combat training to their peers in Kappa unit. In order to do their job, they're likely to need something with more kick than a medikit or a wrench before the day is through.
Okay, next up, the big gun that I'm adding to the list, the Omega. He was fun to paint. I'm quite pleased with him. He's come out looking pretty tasty. He goes well with the other all-armoured guy. And hopefully, on the tabletop, he is going to do what he's intended to do and win some gunfights. With the HMG and his inhibitors and his good ballistic skill, I'm confident he won't die quickly. What's that? One shot, one missile, pop. Now that's what's going to happen. But the Omegas are hard hitting. Does their background go along with that? So, Aleph, tell me about the Omega unit.
O12 is built upon the pillars of unity, cooperation, support, and progress. More than one observer has pointed out the organization's hypocrisy in this regard, and while there's often more nuance at play the people realize, the Omegas are a favorite target. Where's the cooperation in sending a lone soldier in servo-powered armor into the fray? What these critics don't see are the countless souls providing tactical data, making sure their armor functions perfectly, and otherwise setting the Omegas up for success. What they do see, however, are the results. One problem, one Omega, and that typically means a problem that's as good as solved.
And lastly, we have the Raven Officer. This model is really fun to paint, actually. There's lots of detail. It works quite nicely with my colour scheme, the coat and the trousers, and then various armour panels. I think he's come out quite nicely. I think with 12 points you actually get quite a lot of utility out of this little fella. So, Aleph, could you tell me more about the Raveneye Officer?
Raveneye officers are the communications monitoring technicians of the Raveneye Orbital Complex. The Raveneye Complex serves as an air and ground traffic monitoring platform, a fact that is well known in military circles, and furthermore it features gun batteries for orbital and surface attack, which is known only to high-level intelligence officials. Although this is a joint endeavor of Bureau Aegis and the CONC Planetary Defense Force, some members of this Starmada unit are believed to be on the payroll of Bureau Noir. A Raveneye officer can tap into the orbital facilities systems and thus control the remote monitoring devices and artillery batteries to unleash hell on any aircraft that tries to enter Concilium's airspace. All officers are outfitted with neural interfacing devices consisting of 3 elements: the interface helmet, where most systems are integrated, a lightweight backpack that contains both the suit's battery and a cooling/heating, which can also be hand-carried for situations that require them to board an acceleration pod, and a data suit, which acts as a haptic support system for multitasking situations.
Okay then, so that gets me to 200 points. I'll be having my first game at that point level soon. We'll be recording it. Don't know what scenario I'm going to play. It'll be a randomly rolled up one again. But it can't go any worse than the first one, can it? Oh, that's tempting fate. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed seeing us progress up to these points values. And join us in a couple of weeks, hopefully, for a 200 point game.
Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please give us a like. And if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. It all helps to keep us motivated and raises the profile of our channel and Infinity the game, bringing it to a wider audience. And don't forget, if you're so inclined, you can also find us on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you.